Hey guys, welcome. We're sitting here with Big D and the kids table.
What's up? Let's go.
How are you guys doing? Welcome to Atlanta. Thank you guys for coming back.
Thank you.
Yeah. We do cut this up when our show. We're probably gonna do a whole show on you guys.
Nice.
We'll just do a show. Yeah. Interplace the interview, different parts in there. And I've just got some real general questions for you. First off, you guys have been doing this for how long? First off,
16, 17 years.
Yeah, since 1996.
1996. Okay. And you are pretty much, you consider yourselves, and you're really outspoken about being very DIY.
In a way.
Okay. Well, what do you mean by actually in a way?
Well, a lot of people applaud us for being DIY, but we really just think, most of us think that we're just doing the basics of any normal kind of working for yourself, working for your own business, working for your own passion. It's I don't think anybody in the past would think we were DIY. They'd probably say we're slackers. Just because we choose to do things on our own rather than hire someone for money to do them for us, we do get applauded for that, but we almost don't think we should get applauded for it. Everyone should just act that way if they'd advance their life more, because it's a fact that no one's really going to work harder for you than you unless you pay them way more money than their job's even worth. So I think we're just what normal people, hardworking people should act like.
Along those lines, since you guys have been doing this for about 16, 17 years, have you found with all the new stuff you can do, like with Kickstarter and how with the World Wide Web, that it is easier to do some of your own stuff where you don't have to go through a lot of the labels, and how is that different, easier or harder?
One could say that it's easier in lots of different ways, meaning communication with people, but it's added a lot more tasks, fortunate tasks, but more tasks. Back in the day, you were limited to the amount of things you could DIY up. Flyer the city, put out your mailer, something. Now it's like, yeah, but have you done, there are more tasks. So it's like,
tweet on the day.
Yeah.
Instagram on the day.
So it's almost an endless, promotional company, or whatever, publicity company. But I would definitely say the differences are like this. A kid once asked me when I was speaking at a school, how do you book a tour? And back in the day, when you wanted to book a tour, you got Book Your Own Fucking Life, which is an actual magazine, and you just kind of arbitrarily went through it, or maybe your cousin knew someone in a metal band, but you were in a country band, and you just set up a show because you were both in bands, and you don't. But nowadays, you can put metal and different categories in. You can just pull it up like a dating service. So it's funny for a young person of today, to ask me how to book a tour when it's easy cheesy at this point. Like, that's almost a question that's, like anyone should be able to figure out.
Yeah. I used to do Midwest, like Columbus, Chicago, up into Michigan and stuff like that with bands we had.
I booked a band out of Columbus, and that was not easy to do back in
basically. You had the venue book, and you just blind called. And
you had to give a band.
This is what we got, and just started talking to them.
You had to give a band a gun just in case. You know what I mean? Where are you going? Nobody knows.
So the one thing I've noticed, I'm going to stick specifically, and I know you guys are. I'm not going to pigeonhole you in a genre. Certainly, we can talk about that in a second. Sure. But with a lot of the ska or third wave ska type stuff, there's a lot of the bands that are either getting back together now because of how easy it is, I guess, to get. It's not the distribution part is easy. You need to build your audience, and I understand the value in record labels, having been on both sides of this equation like 10 years ago. Basically, bands can play forever. You guys, however, most of the bands though stay regional. Mm-hmm. You guys don't. Mm-hmm. You're still touring. I mean, you guys are madmen. You guys are always on the road. And you're gonna keep it up, I guess. How long? It's got to take, and it's got to be hard.
Yeah,
16 years, like 200 shows a year or whatever.
Yeah, you lose some girlfriends.
We have gotten to go to some really cool places we haven't gone. Like, we've been to Asia a couple times recently, which is a place we've always wanted to go. It looks like we're going to go to Australia soon. these guys have been to Australia, but the band itself hasn't been yet. So that should be really cool. That stuff still definitely keeps us going. You could like beat the Northeast to death and kind of do that, and that's good to keep the expenses paid for and stuff like that. But it's definitely cool to kind of go off to China and tour 14 cities in China. You come home definitely feeling like you did something, as opposed to like going to the same club for the 20th time.
Seeing the world.
It's like
it's awesome.
And one of the other things is like a lot of bands that were in the punk rock community, most of them go through the different avenues of the punk rock, the punk rock factory. You get signed by Bleep record label, and they put you on Bleep tour with band, and you go around the world. We've never had that fortunateness, I don't know. But so we've I guess that is where our DIY-ness would come from, where every little step that gets handed to most punk or ska bands at a certain level. I don't want anybody under that level to be like, hey, we didn't get any good treatment. It's like I'm not saying that. I mean, it's like, I know, dude. But we were among the peers of people who were being hooked up left and right. So we had to fight for that. We had to go to Japan by ourselves, China by ourselves. We've had to fight for a lot of the things that get handed on a silver platter to most punk bands.
Well, you did that when you did your European tour, right? You wrote a book about it.
Our first European tour, one of the best hookups, the two best things that have ever happened to Big D and the Kids Table is Mike Park fronted us tickets to go to England and Europe that first time.
That's pretty cool.
And that is like the biggest thing that ever happened.
He'll be here next week.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that was just
Streetlight
unbelievable.
last tour.
And the other one was Kevin Lyman of the Warped Tour is just so nice to us. So those things are really, really good.
Not about me. I've never been to the Warped Tour, and it's just kind of crazy. It's like one of those things. You guys were on it last year, and it's like, do I want to go? I have to take off a whole day of work and all that. It's like a big to do for me.
School was just
am I going for you guys and like two other bands?
Sure.
I mean, sorry, I did miss you once when you came to town.
It's funny because you see all the bands on the Warped Tour change, and there's still Kevin Lyman knows what he's doing. Kids can say, oh, but NoFX doesn't play every year anymore, but yeah,
it's still pretty. It's still pretty
wanted
good.
to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the other thing that you were saying is a lot of other bands took time off and are now coming back. I think a lot of those bands, and I have no idea, but I think a lot of those bands took time off to put their lives together. Finally marry that girlfriend that they didn't want to get away, and finally clean up their apartment and maybe get someplace else and move in with someone. And I think after 4 or 5 years of just putting your life together, they're like, I gotta get the hell out and tour. not that their life is bad, but once it's in you, And so most of the bands that I kind of think you're talking about, I think they just took the proper time off. And now that the addiction is coming back.
You guys are kind of all in the same area, right? Because now you've got bands, I don't remember who it was we were talking to, that are actually across country, and I can record this and I can record this, and we can send it and put it together.
They record a couple of them are in Florida, and they actually digitally do the stuff and put it together.
We were at the blasting room recording our record, and the day we were leaving was Bill Stevenson and Chuck Dukowski was coming in to rehearse for flag practice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But it was just them two, so they were recording drums and bass, recording at the blasting room, sending it to the guitar player, and then he was going to practice that. So that's how they rehearsed for the tour.
That's one of the most punk rock moments we've ever been a part of, is when Bill Stevens said, we got flag practice tomorrow. And we were all like...
So do you guys consider yourself punk rock?
Okay.
Sort of.
I think this. I think we are punk rock from what I believed punk rock was when I was a young kid. But what I've learned punk rock is as an adult now, I think they're ridiculous.
Okay.
It's just it's like a club.
You think they're ridiculous now?
Well, I love being the punk rocker in the punk rock club, meaning we don't get invited to the parties, we don't get on the cool tours, no one even recognizes us. We're the dirty orphan kids of the punk rock community. and it's great because that's what I liked about punk rock. You know what I mean? And it's finding the good things in yourself when everyone thinks you're not good enough. And so, yeah, I mean, all the fingers up to a lot of the scene. I think they're a lot like the American high school cheerleaders.
That's
I mean,
a really
I hate
good
to hate on
analogy.
it, but
I
I
like
mean,
that.
they are. They're catty and they follow each other.
Anything? I was going to ask you something maybe about a genre that's probably been played to death. How many times have you guys answered, what is Stroll and what is...
Oh, not that much.
Would you like to? Go ahead.
I mean, there's two ways to sew it up, and one is...
For our listeners, can you just explain, your last album, can you just explain that in your
Well,
words?
after
What you
Strictly
guys did?
Rude on Side One Dummy, and Side One Dummy did a great job with Strictly Rude, we knew we had the inability to write Strictly Rude 2. Do you know what I mean? So, because we played music together, and because the band started with just playing music together and not making songs that other people liked, we just wanted to write songs. So we were like, hey man, that's really impressive that you came up with that. You know, just like trying to impress friends, you know? We came up with like Stroll, and Stroll kind of was the birth of watching the movie The Commitments, and that's an Irish film in the 90s.
love that.
You know, it's like Northern Soul. I mean, Stroll is a Northern Soul, but it's the idea of the backup singers and playing songs, and you know, when you have horns in a ska punk band, you sometimes feel bad that you're not using them to their fullest, you know, talent. And you know, growing up in like the, you know, early 80s, I watched so much 70s car chase, 80s car chase music that I really like that kind of funky, you know, dun 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 dun, you know, so I love that stuff. And so so it all started to turn into that, and then once the girls came on board, there's a lot of fun little hopscotch rhymes that I always was really attracted to, and we started putting that into it. But I think the hopscotch rhymes element and the beat element with the 70s car chase music and the cosmetics of the Commitments made Stroll kind of take form.
They're both hell of records. I mean,
Thanks.
I've been a fan of this genre for a long time.
Thanks, man. We hope that it gets written somewhere, but we know this too. Like, and we go, oh, we made a genre. But we also know that it'll be someone else who gets famous off it. we'll be a footnote. Yeah.
Well, if
Operation IVF.
They reform and do
Sort of.
Operation Stroll. We're like, damn it, boys.
this will just end up cutting out because we don't care about where I came from listening to you guys. I had heard of you guys when people found out I liked ska, that, oh, Big D and the Kids Tale, Boston, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And so he finally were like, okay, he bought the album Fluent in Stroll.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's really good. It's not ska, but it's really good. And I listened to it and I'm like, it's not ska, but it's really good. And then I actually went back and bought your other stuff where you had more punk type stuff and you had more ska stuff. And I'm like, okay, now that's okay, that's more what I listened to, but I did, and it all came together. So
Yeah.
it was Stroll for you guys. That was the first one I heard by you. You know, well after you had all your earlier stuff. And
I think that's
Got me down
where,
there.
as Metalocalypse would say, the audience is a fickle woman, and that's you know, after we couldn't do Strictly Rude 2, so we went out on a ledge and did our personal Paul's Boutique of Fluent and Stroll. Everyone hated it for about a year and a half, and we were quite mean about it. And then when we put out Damn and Dumb Delirious, everyone's like, why isn't it like Stroll? And we're like, you know what? You know what, everybody? You're getting a double record next record. You can go eat yourselves.
Well, thank you from fans. Seriously, thank you guys.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
I got one stupid question that I just want to ask all three of you. And I'm going to not do the dumb question of, what's your favorite Big D and the Kids Table song? Because I absolutely hate that question. But the question
He's
that
gonna do it.
the question that I do want to ask, because we are going to do a show for you guys, one song that maybe doesn't get played enough, or even if it gets played too much, and it's the one that you need to play that on the show that we do for you guys. What song do you each want to hear?
That we must, because that's how we kind of do set lists, is first, what's the song that everyone must have?
And we don't have to
first.
do that. I want to know what you guys want us to play, because we play the songs.
sweet.
We play the songs that we have to play all the time, along with others.
Let me ask you a different. What would you want us to play that normally won't get played?
There we
Oh,
go.
that normally wouldn't get played. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I misunderstood.
Any
I
record.
like the song Snakebite and Relocate the Beat from Strictly Rude.
Okay.
We thought those songs were going to like,
Groundbreaking.
yeah, they were gonna, everybody was going to love them. And I still love Snakebite and Relocate the Beat. And we tried to play them when Strictly Rude came out, and it just just like crickets.
Everyone goes to the bathroom.
But those songs are great.
We're gonna play that for you right now. Let me just get that in there. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll choose a song off the new records because we're trying to push.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You're gonna get an hour, so we can do
All right.
anything
All right.
you want. Multiple answers are fine.
Cool. I would say Lin Lin, The City of Sin.
Yeah.
I think that was quite an underdog because when we wrote it, we didn't really know like what we just kind of had chords and the beat, and we're like, well, it's something's happening, but it's not. It's not really there yet. And then I don't know. Dave came up with he came up with his style of singing really
It's catchy.
pushed that song, and the girls do the backups, and it was great. So I would say that song.
My mom taught me that chorus, and I'd been trying to get that chorus in a song on a record for so long, and then finally it happened. It was a big deal.
I'm trying to think of how you do your vocals on that.
It's just screaming at people.
No, it's like your rhythm. Of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Like it's kind of different. It's
Yeah.
That's what I like about
it's
it.
almost
The
like
drummer's
you're talking
really
about
good.
hopscotch rhymes. It's almost like that in a male.
I
I'm
kinda
not
look
sure
at
that's
You wrote
right or
your
not
own
at all.
hopscotch,
though.
right?
I look at it as like I almost look at it as like an aggressive Diggable Planets first record.
Broadway show. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm trying to.
The
spit
Diggable
something
Planets
out.
are really good at I don't know, like just beats, like just syncopate, just keeping the syncopation so it's not boring. And I'm obviously not going to play as in a group that's like together with people that are slow and like the Diggable Planets. So I just kind of like turn it on Melt Banana speed, and that's where that goes.
Nice.
But I would say "Digging in Your Nails" is one of my all-time favorite songs, only because I think we were trying to rip off a Melt Banana song, and we did a really good job. Other than that, I want to have another. I really think "Knife" is our new song. "Knife" is
Yeah.
it's like some people ask us, like what bands are inspiring you, and after a certain age, you'll never get inspired like you were when you were so fresh and open to sounds. For it to happen that way is the band has to be so amazing. You know what I mean? So mostly, I get inspired by movies because they're outside my.
Which one? Seriously.
Oh, just the whole Quentin
what would you-
catalog, or there's a website called somethingweirdvideo.com, and you can watch all the terrible filmmakers that never really made it, and all their movies are great.
Do you have anything when you're doing Knife? I guess this for all of you. This the way the music is presented.
Yeah.
It's I call it like South of the Border or something.
Yeah.
It's like it's just got that rhythm. What did I say? It's David Lynch soundtrack. That's exactly
Absolutely.
when I said it's
Yeah.
David Lynch soundtrack.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah,
it's
it's just-
creepy and just cool. It's
Just a lot of music scoring, like Ocean's 11 music and stuff. A lot of those guys, even though they're not in the music industry like we are, they're still music composers. And
Mike Patton does that now,
Yeah.
professionally. I'm a
Yeah,
giant
does he do
Patton
that
fan.
now? I heard he's starting to compose music.
Yeah, he did
Something. Yeah. No, I heard this. Yeah.
the one with the guys, Jason Statham movie where he had to get the charge on his heart. He did that one.
Oh, yeah,
he did
right.
Somewhere in the Pines, that movie that came
Wow.
out. It's a crime movie. It's supposed to be pretty indie and good. That's what he's doing, I think, for his main.
Well, he should.
basically his
He's
day
a
job.
sound artist
Yeah.
first, so.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you very much,
Yeah, no problem.
guys, and
And boom.
appreciate it. Boom.